Appreciate it. And now we really want to get into the meat and potatoes of the summit. And I want to introduce David Celine, who's the vice president of Drive. They're a business consulting firm, and he's going to take us through a labor recruitment workshop, which I know is top of mind for everybody right now with personnel shortage. So, David, I'll turn it over to you.
All right. Thank you, Bob. And thank you, everybody, for attending today. And I want to thank the AAA team for putting this event together and allowing us the opportunity to be here today. So just to start off with a little bit, Drive's been helping businesses since 1993 in the automotive industry. And one of our main focuses is to help people have a more stable, profitable business that provides the owner and their employees with a higher quality of life. Now, Drive does this through training workshops, business coaching, websites, marketing solutions, and software solutions. We've helped probably over 100,000 businesses on subjects such as marketing and employee management and financials and just overall business management. So that's why we're glad to be here today and help everybody out on one of the hot topics in the industry right now, and that's hiring and recruiting. Now, a little bit about myself. I've been in the automotive industry for a little over 30 years now. I've worked in repair shops, worked for roadside service companies, towing companies, opened my own business that provided all those. And with the help of Drive, they were able to make my shop very successful, business very successful. And then I got an offer several years back that I couldn't turn down. And I then started working for Drive. And one of the things I realized over the years is that in our industry, there's something that's a driving force among most of us. And for me, it's the ability to help others. I like helping others. And that's something that I think everybody here in this industry, whether you realize it or not, you're helping others. There's a day or a time that you become somebody's hero. It may have been for just a short, brief period, and they may forget about it afterwards. But it's something that we provide a valuable service. And one of those things is don't let yourself forget that. What you do is very valuable, and people value when you're there. Now, a lot of times I know customers will say, hey, thank you for helping me. I'm glad you were here to save me, but I hope I don't see you again. So it's one of those things in the industry, but what you do is valuable. So when we start talking about recruiting, the first thing I want to do is there's a lot of things out there right now. You know, depends on what you listen to, mainstream media, news feeds, social media, all of them are painting a very grim picture out there. You know, I did a little research online, and depends on what source you find, you can hear that 9.3 to 15 million job openings right now in the US, and 1.2 to 2 million of them could be in the transportation and automotive industry. Now, the thing about it is we've been helping shops through this pandemic and businesses through this pandemic, and we've been able to get employees. They're out there, they're available to recruit. So one of the things I ask you to do is kind of clear your viewpoints, turn off the media, forget about what they're saying, and change your viewpoint. And I like to quote Henry Ford on this, because Henry Ford had a quote that says, if you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you're right. So let's reset everything and think about it. If you wake up tomorrow and say, I'm going to find the employee I need, then things start to happen. And then we're going to help you throughout this webinar today to make sure that you have the basics in so that your recruiting efforts are effective. So really, what do we look at in recruiting right now? Recruiting is not only creating interest in your business, but the industry. You know, there's a lot of things that needs to be completed to properly recruit, and often they're underestimated about how much effort it's going to take for somebody to complete these. Now, I want you to think, major companies have dedicated departments and teams of people that help them recruit. In a lot of small business, and especially in the automotive industry, this falls on the owner of most of the business in most cases. This is a full-time job, and as the owner of the business, you've got to be able to set a part of your day to work on recruiting at all times, because if you're not, and I understand it's kind of a double-edged sword, a catch-22, because without the employees, you can't have the free time. You still got to service your customers. You got to be able to perform the roadside services, or you're working under the hood of a car because you ain't got these employees to help you with it. But if you don't dedicate the time to it, you're going to be stuck in the cycle. So work on setting aside time to really work on recruiting. And the next thing on it is understanding what is it that you're doing when you're marketing your business. There's a lot of different things out there, but how does the people see your business? How does potential employees see your business? What's the image you're presenting of your business to the community? Are you involved with your community? Are you actually doing community service? Does people know about you? If I walk down to the corner gas station, will they recommend you? You know, what is the word of mouth, the reviews, the testimonials? Your reputation as a boss can be a big factor in recruiting. You know, how do you treat employees? How do your employees view you? You know, one of the best things that you can do as a business owner is take a walk through as a potential employee. If I was looking for a job, what steps would I do? If I ran across a hiring ad for my business, would it attract me? Would it actually make me want to go work for them? And then, of course, there's also steps you can take to make sure your business is completely set up when you start your recruiting so it becomes effective. Do you have a clean and professional facility, or is your equipment? So if somebody drives by in the street or sees your equipment driving down the street, do they view it as, hey, that's a nice shop or a nice tow truck out there? And does it supply the image that you want to be supplying for your business? Of course, the correct pay system. Do you have a pay system in place? Now, at Drive, what we recommend is start with a base pay. It may not be the highest base pay, but put incentives based on production, whether it's for your technicians or your tow truck drivers. Make sure you get a guaranteed pay in there, because I know there's many different systems out there and you got to be careful what's legal by your law in your state. But the recommended pay system to put in is a base system that has bonuses and incentives for production. And then the next piece of this, your involvement in social activities. You know, there's a lot of community service things going on, chambers of commerce, business networking groups. And I understand that your days are probably long, you're working long hours, 7 days a week, but get somebody from your business involved in these activities, because it's a great way for recruitment and finding potential talent out there. And then the next piece is making sure you've got your leadership skills in place. Your business is organized. It seems to be well operated, because when a potential employee is looking for work, that is something that they look at and can either make or break the deal whether they come to work for you. And then we'll get into this a little further in the presentation, but your website, social media presence is online. It's very important now when you're attracting employees. And if they're not set up correctly, it can be a turnoff to new employees. Now, before we are able to get employees, the first thing you need to do is expand and define what exactly are you looking for? What is the position, the qualities, the habits? You know, this is a good exercise to do. And the way I look at it is if you don't define exactly what you want and what you're going to be advertising for, then you may not get the type of employee that you're looking for. This is very important to have a detailed job description that comes into play. You know, visualize what you want the concepts to be, what the job's going to be about, and how are you going to relay that out to make it attractive to potential employees. Now, when we actually move into the next slide here, what we're going to talk about was what is the available workforce out there right now. And I know this word will actually either trigger some people, or some of you may be millennials right now, but I want you to understand it's 50% of their workforce right now is millennials. And within the next 3 to 5 years, 75% of the workforce is going to be the millennial generation. This is a generation now that is in their 30s, and they are settling down. They've got families, they're good employees. So whatever you've heard or whatever preconceived ideas you have about this generation, erase it, because if you understand this generation, it's going to help you attract them to your businesses. Now, a couple important things to understand about the millennial generation. Titles are very important to them. So if you're just putting tow truck driver into your ads, may not be so attractive to them. So come up with creative names and positions within your company. Manager title works good, you know, service manager, roadside service manager. All these different titles mean a lot to the millennial generation and will help bring them in. The other thing is they're very big on having on-the-job training. It's an important factor to them when they want to see that they have on-the-job training and that there's advancements and opportunities to grow. They are very particular about environmental practices, and they want a balanced life between work and home. So the big thing about this generation is they want to know that they're making a difference, that they are a purpose. So this is where a lot of community service, outreach to the community, programs within the community make a big difference because that attracts these type of employees to your shop. Now, the next thing we're going to go into is recruitment ads. Now that you know what we're looking for in the millennial generation and how to attract them, well, when writing recruitment ads, employers often make the mistake of listing out so many requirements when they're writing an ad. While doing this, they're listing qualities they desire, pay ranges, you know, hours of operation, certifications you want, and everything else. But what we want to really focus on today is on your recruitment ads is don't limit or rule out people by the limitations that you put on your recruitment ads. Because what you need to sit down is list out a set of qualities and requirements that would attract you to the job. Or if you have current employees, sit down with them and ask them, what do you like about the current job? What do you like about what you do? What are the plus points? And that's the things you need to be highlighting in your recruitment ads. Now, what I did is I went on to a recruitment site and I actually looked up some current recruitment in the Los Angeles area because that's where we're based. And if you notice right here, let's really take and dissect this for just a few minutes. Tow truck driver, 15 to 18 an hour. But here's where we start looking and start listing the requirements that we want, but doesn't attract employees. At least 1 year of experience in flatbed tow truck, perform basic repairs or tow their vehicle. Keep your truck clean and in good condition. What we're doing right there is putting limitations on who can actually apply to the job. Same thing, I have an automotive mechanic ad up there, ASC certification, minimum of 3 years, new car franchise, auto or auction experience, performing inspections, diagnosis, mechanical adjustments, and repairs. And these ads keep going on. And what you're doing is putting a lot of restrictions on who may apply and who may not apply. And then same thing, the last one we got, it's pretty much close to the same, but must be reliable to show up to work and ready on time. So what I want you to do is start thinking about all the restrictions you put in your hiring ads and actually go on to some of the recruitment sites if you're going to post on there and look at their ads before. And how do you actually get your ad to stand out? How do you get it to attract somebody to come into your business and apply to your business or call your business? Because if you're seeing these same things and they're the same thing over and over and over again, it's hard for a person to select. So do something that makes it stand out. An example of what I do, what we would talk about on here about this is like ABC Towing and Repair is expanding and currently has a few position opens. Come in and be a part of our team, grow with our company. We offer on-the-job training. We're environmentally friendly and strive to deliver the best customer service. If you're looking for a fun, new, exciting career that has a great pay, then give us a call or apply now. Now, let's break this down right here and just on the simple side of this hiring ad. This is saying right now we have a few positions opening. Why do you want to state that in a hiring ad? Because people don't like to compete for one position. They don't want to be fighting for it. If they feel they're underqualified, they may not apply to it. Or if they feel they're overqualified, that you may not hire them. So always put it as you have a few positions open. That helps bring in more applications. One of the big lines that we found through the years for Drive is being part of a team and a family. Grow with our company. We're expanding. I seen these ads as we were on the last screen, urgently hiring. Well, if the business feels like they're urgent, the applicant is going to say, well, why do they not have employees? Why are they looking for employees? You know, what's wrong with them? And then, you know, offering on the job training. You're starting to talk about the things they're going to get when they're with the business, not the things that you require. Now, I understand that the things that you require, you must have clean driver's license and records, and we'd like to see experience and stuff. Leave that to the interview process to sort out. Get the applications, get the contacts in, and then you can sort out their qualifications through their resumes that they supply you and getting them to apply to you and having interviews. So once you actually sit down and be real creative and create an outstanding ad that actually grabs your attention, run it by your employees, run it by people that are around you in the business, and try to figure out, is this going to attract somebody? Because it makes a big difference when recruiting. Now, some of the other things you need to look for is, where do we post these ads? Well, for the towing industry, believe it or not, Craigslist is one of the actually better hitting sites for the towing industry. Now, auto staffing, Indeed, career builders, auto care careers, hireahero.com. All these are very effective sites. We've seen, it depends on your area and your town, but you know, find out. You can also survey your customers as you talk to them and ask them, if you're looking for a job, where would you go to look for it? Find out in your town, survey people walking up down the streets, going to the mall or anything like that, and find where the average person will go to look for a job. The next place is in your towns is looking at military placement agencies. If you have military posts near you, they will have placement agencies for people leaving the military, people with motor pool experience, very disciplined, and usually make great employees. Another place to look for that's an agency is your local unemployment agencies. You never know where a prospect will come up or somebody's looking for a job. It could be a tech, service advisor, driver, or any of those kind of different positions. But, you know, talk to these local agencies because they're always looking to place people in jobs, and it can be very, very economic and affordable for your company to look for potential employees there. The next one is what we call the Grapevine Guide to Finding Employees. Now, I'm going to kind of really go over this in a basic form, but the idea is that you can't discount any interview or any avenue to use to search for employees. This could be local hangouts. Now, this is a really big industry when we start talking about tow truck drivers in this area, because look, there's drivers, there's delivery drivers, there's over-the-road drivers. How do you actually promote to them? Where do they actually hang out? What are the local truck stops? Where are the local coffee shops they go to? Can you post things on their bulletin boards? Can you put the word out to the employees of these hangouts? Can you post things in your local newspaper that they may see? Is there community events that you can go to promote your business, such as street fairs or local community gatherings? You know, we just passed the 4th of July. I know a lot of towns have parades and events. This is good places to be out, advertise yourself, and put yourself out in front of them. Job fairs is another one. Talking to your customers, see if they know of somebody that would be interested in it. Believe it or not, your customers won't refer somebody to you that they wouldn't trust with their vehicles. So your customers could be a good avenue. And then one that's often overlooked is community colleges and trade associations. There's a lot of community colleges out there that have people that are just going through their program. Yes, they're trainees. They may not have a world of experience, but let's look at the hiring market today. Anybody you hire, you're going to have to invest training in. So if you can get somebody that's brand new coming into the industry, you get to train them your way. They don't have bad habits from somebody else. And then you have the opportunity to mold them into being the great employee that you want. The other things you can do is offer bounties or a referral program to people that refer employees to you. Talk to buddies or friends that you have within the industry, past employers that may have got their staff full, but they may have applications sitting there where they're willing to share applications. I've seen that happen very often throughout shops. So it's a great thing to do is outreach more, look at your networking events, and cast that net wider. Now, another thing with your hiring ads too, when you post them, a lot of times we seem to post them to our local towns. Now, we've seen it very effective is post it into other regions, other cities. Usually, if you find cities that are economically depressed and are having major issues or high crime, you will post those ads there and you'll change your ad a little bit. Tired of the city, tired of the crime, move to a safe, reliable neighborhood and come to work for us. So, you may have to go out past your city, past your state in some cases. I found it very effective as oil fields, anytime an oil field shuts down, posting in that area because people are scrambling and looking for jobs. It's a great way to attract people to your business and to work for you. The next thing I want to cover is your website. Now, there's a lot of factors in your website right now. One, is it ranking on Google? And one of the tests I would tell you to do is to do it from a device that you normally wouldn't Google your own business on, but put in towing or automotive repair in the area or by the zip code. See where it comes up. Where are you ranking? How does your website look? Does it put a professional image out? Does it actually have a page on there about your employees that you can highlight your employees, how long they've been in the business, what certifications do they have? That's actually another big attraction point when somebody's highlighting their employees on their website. It actually attracts people to their business. Also, having a hiring or a careers page on your website is very important too. Now, there's a lot of things that go along with the website. You have Google Ads now, and you have SEO ranking. So you got to actually, there's a lot to do with your website to make sure that it's ranking, that people are seeing it, that it's visible, it's professional. It relays not only what you do as a business, but how could it be beneficial for somebody to come work for you? Then moving on to the next piece is actually getting onto social media. Social media is a very big driver now for jobs. You wouldn't think about it, okay, nobody's going to look on Facebook for a job. But you know what? They have friends of friends on Facebook, and they'll do private messages and chats, and they'll ask, how is it to work for this person? What was the pay like? So if you think you don't have your pay out there or what it's like to work in your business out there, there's so much networking. They'll even talk to friends that used your business for a purpose in the past and see, what did they think about it? What did they see when they were there? So you need to put yourself out there. Facebook, Indeed, LinkedIn, Google+, Pinterest, Twitter. These are all important factors to hiring right now because it's not only a place for people to look, but I want you to think of this. If I was seeing your ad in a recruiting site, and one of the first things I'm interested in it now, I want to see what it's like to work for your business. I'm going to probably Google your business. I'm going to look at your online reviews. I'm going to look at your social media platforms. I'm going to do research now because employees do a lot of online research right now. And you need to keep your minds open to that. Is how is my online presence? Because that could be affecting your recruiting abilities and getting people to apply. The next point I want to go over that's really important is you should never stop recruiting. And this is one of the biggest factors that get most small businesses in the trouble that they are when they're looking for employees. They stop recruiting, they shut the doors down when their team's full. When they have an employee leave or they need a position filled, then they have to start the process over again. So with anything, you should always be recruiting. You should always have ads out. You should always have help wanted signs up, because look at it this way. If the person walks into the door and they're the superstar that you've been looking for, even though your team's full, there's a great chance that you're going to make room for them, expand your operation, and improve your business. The other thing is that when recruitment ads are working and employees are coming in, they'll call you, they'll send in their resumes, they show up at the shop. But one of the things that happens in the recruiting process is a lot of times we rule people out because we didn't like something on their resume. We didn't feel that they were going to fit in. We didn't think they would survive our industry. What you need to do is throw those all out, all those preconceived ideas out the door, get the applicant to at least do a phone interview with you, explain what your business is, try to sell your business to them. And it never hurts to have an in-person interview, because if you get somebody to come in on an in-person interview, you can learn a lot about them. And that leads us to the interview process. On the interview process, there's actually 3 different types of interviews you should be doing with all potential candidates. And that's a phone interview, an in-person interview, and then the working interview. And we're going to try to break these down so they're quite simple to understand and why you would want to do them this way. So look, your phone interview is actually your first impression. It's when a candidate tries to call or you call them, it actually gives them a feel of what your business is like. Now, I always made it a very big point in my business, and we teach at Drive to Make It in Your Business. If somebody applies to your business for work, call them as soon as you possibly can. Let them know that you're watching. Let them know that you care. Whether they're the right candidate or not, that goes a long way because you got back to them really quick. But then the other piece on it is that good employees, when you're on the phone interview, there's some other pieces that you want to look at. You want to do your homework. You want to make sure you've read any resumes or credentials they presented to you before you do the phone interview. You also want to have your stuff for your business all together. What are the pay plans going to be like? What experience are you looking for? What training plans are you going to have involved? How are you going to do the training? Because during the phone interview, you could get a lot of different questions in here, and this could actually make or break whether or not the employee even shows up for a live interview. So be able to answer all these correctly, have your policies, your mission statement, all available so that you can actually present that to the employee and build their interest in coming in for the in-person interview. Now, when you get to the in-person interview, what you want to look at is how's the presentation of your business and where you perform the interview. What story does it tell? When candidates walk in to your business for the first time, they tend to observe everything. And actually what you need to understand is they're interviewing you just as much as you're interviewing them. So do you have papers and magazines all over the desk? Is it loud? Do they have a nice environment in there? Is the employees yelling at each other in the back? There's a lot of things that can turn off a recruit. So you got to try to get everything cleaned up. And like I said, if you don't have an office or anything, pick a decent restaurant to go to. I've seen this very effective is when you're interviewing something, what's the cost of a meal to get your potential employee? If you take them to a nice restaurant, invite their spouse with them, sit down and do the interview over dinner, that actually sets a stage for somebody to want to work for you. And they're sitting here going, it puts extra care that you're putting in there. Remember, productive people like to work in clean, organized environments. Nobody likes to be in a threatening or uncomfortable environment. So you need to present that in this job interview because, like I said, they're interviewing you and qualifying you. Then the third type of interview that we recommend is the working interview. Now, this is somebody, you may not give them a full-time job on here, but what you're actually going to do is you're going to bring them in for pay and let them actually work for you on a temporary basis. And then you're going to see how they fit with you. Do they fit your shop's culture? Do they actually work with you? Is it the right fit? And one of these things is we pulled up some information from a company called AccuTemps that specialized in temporary staffing and asked 22,000 executives the following questions. And if you look right there, having the candidate work on a temporary basis was one of their biggest percentages of what they like to do to get the right employees. So you want to make sure that you work them on a temporary basis, ask open-ended interview questions, check references, and then, like I said, even having the candidate group a team meeting or a social activity with your employees, that can help you land these employees. And why the working interview, the interview process, the phone interview is so important is, remember, you're selling your business. At this time, you haven't offered anybody a full-time job, but you got to sell your business and put yourself out there. And then when they actually show the interest, then you can work out the details of everything else that's going on. And then the next big point that we want to talk about is what is the overall culture of your shop? To us, culture means that you're going to make positive things happen. Your energy and the drive to get things done inspires your crew. It's also important to understand that your crew how they react to you, and if you keep the driven energy up, they'll follow you. Strong leadership is a part of good management and requires this drive. Now, the other part of culture is how does your employees interact with your customers? How does your employees interact with you? What kind of training do you offer your employees? Training's another big thing, and I know Napa was just talking about it, the training that's offered over there and how it helps attract employees to your business. So let it be known what training opportunities you have, what training you do with your employees. It could even be just a quick article where you held a training exercise for your community, and it helps get yourself out there. And that's another great thing why we're talking about this part of the culture, how you're getting involved with your community and how you're interacting with the industry. But I know the slow down and move over programs are very active across the United States. And one of the things that you could do is actually put those events on in your local community at different times. Let them get familiar with your tow trucks. Let them get familiar with your vehicles and everything like that. Show them what it's like to be, because you got to educate the public on what it is you do and how it can be a rewarding and career, and how it's nice to be working with you. So, in a quick summary of everything here, what we want to look at is your owner's viewpoint and the effort required in recruiting. Look, I am not going to paint a pretty picture. It's hard to find employees out there, but if you do it right, write the right ads, have the right attitude, and put the right systems in your business, it's going to attract the right people to your business. Understanding the job market, that's one of the things that's very important. Who's looking for work? How do I attract them? The proper placement of your ads and the proper job sites you should put them on, and the importance of social media and website. Like I said, I can't stress enough to make sure all that's up to date and working for you. And then the proper interview process. And then, of course, it's one of these things you always got to be recruiting. So one of the things we're doing here, just to keep on time here, there's a lot to cover when it comes to hiring. And one of the things that we put together for the AAA family right now is a week apprenticeship that deals with hiring. We're going to walk you through and train you, because it's not something we can do in just a 30, 45-minute hour. It's something that you have to practice and continually do and dedicate a lot of time to. So what this apprenticeship consists of is group coaching. It's a weekly group coaching call that's focused on all the different factors. It's going to walk you through the hiring ads, the recruitment process, how to actually use the Grapevine checklist. It's going to walk you through setting your shop up with the right training programs, the right playbooks, and everything that keeps you, makes you stand out above your competition. And then on top of this apprenticeship, you get the weekly coaching group calls, but you're also going to get one-on-one calls from a master business consultant to help you with your individual area, your individual needs. Along with this will come a marketing presentation from Drive's marketing experts. They're going to look at your website, your social media. They're going to look and see what recommendations that they have for you, how to make it better, how to get it more visible, how to make sure your business stands out above the rest with all this. So the good thing about this apprenticeship now, I know a lot of you probably saying, okay, what's the catch here, David? Look, this is probably thousands of dollars worth of services, but we put a program together now that's special for the AAA family. And this 8-week hiring apprenticeship that'll help you land the employees you need and train you up as a business owner so that you don't have this problem in the future is going to be for $7.99 to AAA members. So that's an overview. Now I'm open to a lot of questions on hiring. I know there's just a short time here, so I know we have the Q&A session coming up, and I do ask everybody to stick around to ask the questions you have, and I'll be here to help answer those.
Hey, David, thanks so much. Super relevant topic. Everybody's struggling with the same issue, and hit on some really good things that I really hadn't thought about before. And you said something about military placement agencies, and that's something I don't think most people would probably think about. And the other key point I think you made is that folks need to always be recruiting. So, but anyways, we appreciate all the insight, and hopefully that was helpful to our attendees. And I know Chelsea is going to help you, and we've got another giveaway, and it's a giveaway from Drive. So Chelsea, you want to jump in?
And
Yes.
Bob, I'm posting for anybody interested in that recruiting apprenticeship. I just posted a link that they could get more or put their name into and get more information. That will have somebody reach out to them.
Perfect. Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you. So we're going to be raffling off an 8-week hiring apprenticeship that David actually spoke about in his presentation. So we're going to be offering that courtesy of Drive for free for one lucky winner. So David, if you wouldn't mind choosing a number between 1 and 200 for me.
Well, everybody else was under the hundreds on their thing, so let's pick somebody 157.
All righty. Let's see. 157. We have Nick Alongi. So let me make sure he is on. All right. Yep. It looks like Nick is on. So congratulations, Nick. We'll reach out to you after this webinar. And just a reminder to everybody that is on, please, 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 if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the Q&A. You will find a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. We have some in there already that we've been keeping track of, so we'll make sure to ask them. But if you think of anything else, please put it in there. And I'll turn it over to our panelists now.
All right. Thanks, Chelsea. And let's bring back all the panelists. And, first of all, thank you all for helping us out with this summit. Really appreciate the time and effort. And while I'm waiting for the stream of questions to be fed to me from Chelsea, she's going to mine those. And got a couple of questions that have been asked. And so one here is to Mr. Ross at Santander. And an attendee has asked, if my loan is approved, how much time do I have to close the loan?
Thank you, Bob, and thank you for the question. Yeah, you have, as I mentioned earlier, the approvals are good for 4 months, 120 days. And if indeed the vehicle is not ready in 120 days and you need more time, simply contact us and we'll look at extending the approval. We'll work with you and the dealer to find out what the delivery date is, and we'll help you get the deal. So initially, the approval is good for 120 days. After that, call us up and we'll extend it.
Okay. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate
No
that.
No worries.
Second question, it looks like here for Mr. Fetty at Ford regarding vehicle procurement. If a dealership is only willing to sell me a vehicle from existing stock as a retail transaction, can I do this, and are there disadvantages?
Hey, thanks for the question, Bob. You can do it. Right now there isn't much stock out there to be had. So there are dealers kind of naming their terms. If a vehicle was originally ordered as a retail vehicle, that dealer may only be willing to sell it as a retail transaction. Do understand that that there are disadvantages in from a traditional fleet sale. Certainly, you have a program with AAA National that on a retail transaction, that's not going to flow through over to the AAA National additional rebate. The transaction price is probably going to be a little bit higher, especially right now, because there are no retail discounts to be had out there anywhere. And then I mentioned in my presentation earlier about the new warranty for fleet reported sales. That 5100 warranty would really only apply if that was a fleet type transaction. So a retail transaction is going to carry Ford's regular powertrain warranty of 560. So there's certainly disadvantages to going retail above and beyond just a likely higher price. Best way to go right now is to factory order through the dealership of your choice.
Okay. Well, thanks, Craig. Appreciate it. And someone has asked and this one I'll field. It says, how do we get the recording of this session? So something I probably didn't mention enough, but I think a few of the suppliers had mentioned, and David did as well when his presentation is all the information about the suppliers, about this presentation and so forth are really on our main hub, which is the network of savings. And the URL for that is simply networkofsavings.aaa.biz. So you can find this presentation, the deck and so forth will all be out there. The information that we talked about earlier concerning the Real Heroes contest, all the details on NAPA's new program, what David had presented on concerning recruitment is out there. The Santander details of the program are there, and of course, zips and how you can connect with them and so forth. So one of the things I'd like to ask zips and to David Rottinghouse is that, David, you guys used to send out a catalog, physical catalog, and used to include to the AAA, the providers that were affiliated with AAA, you had their unique identifier on there. Is that something that you guys are continuing to do or will continue to do?
As far as the catalog is concerned, we don't know exactly when we're going to be sending out a new catalog. With all the disruption we are seeing from our suppliers and the volatility of the pricing, we have stalled on printing a new catalog. But yes, we would have their unique identifier available when we do send it out. And then all our emails as well have their unique identifier number.
Okay, so all the email communications that you send out to the suppliers will have their unique identifier on there.
Not all, but most, yes.
Yeah. And so that's so important. So when they go to your site, that they have the kind of the AAA affiliated buying experience, and then they could see their AAA discount and so forth. So just wanted to make sure everyone understood that. So got a few more questions here for David. Celine, what is your opinion on an employee referral program to compensate current employees for recommending applicants that get hired?
Most definitely, your current employees will guide good employees to you, because most of the time they don't want to have somebody that they wouldn't want to work side by side with on there. So any kind of employee referral program, whether it be to your current employees, to other people in the industry. I've seen a referral program done just to kind of, this works for more than shops, but they would go out and offer a $500 gift card on the Snap-on truck and ask the Snap-on dealer to give them the ticket with everybody's name and phone number on it after they raffled that card or that gift card off. So you can get very creative on it. You could do raffles at local truck stops. Find out where your local truck drivers hang out or where they may get fuel. Put a raffle up there to get their name and phone number on it, if anything, and be proactive and reach out to these people.
Yeah. Okay. And for Bob Hess at NAPA, just wondering what the best avenue is for example, an AAR facility if they're interested in becoming an auto care as well. What's the best path for them to take concerning that?
Well, either way, as far as getting more information or getting consideration for the auto care program would be to contact. You obviously would have a NAPA store relationship. In most cases, you'd have a NAPA store relationship. And you just reach right out to them and get that process going, regardless of whether you're an AAR or any other type of provider that is doing auto repair as part of their business model. If that, or reach out to your AAA club rep, and they can certainly know how to get a hold of me. There's an enrollment or a prospect type of a submission form online that they can put to us for you. It comes to us, we get it out to our field and get you hooked up. So either way, probably the quickest and fastest would be to reach out to your NAPA store to ask them how to become an auto care.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Bob. And this is kind of open to the panel, I think. This is one of the attendees has written in and asked, it says, one of the issues that we're facing is when we have a truck go down, we're having huge issues with getting parts to get those units back on the road. And they go into specifics. We have an international that has been at the international dealer for 7 weeks waiting on sensor and valve parts and so forth. Also have Dodge, looks like 1.5 years old, that at the dealer with a pump issue, and just no parts are available. And just curious, it says if there are any tips on how to handle these types of situations. And I think that's probably every industry in the country right now. You know, Craig hit on, you know, with the automobile industry and chips and so forth. And we've heard this across the board, you know, everything that's produced, you know, those things kind of stopped for a while, and now people are trying to get things back in the channels. But does anybody on the panel have comments? And David, this probably hits you. I mean, David Rottinghouse, probably very close to it, and so like to hear your opinion.
Yeah, it's a major issue, and it's always been an issue, but it's just enhanced here with the current times. We deal with it every day. You know, even on new trucks that we are delivering to a customer, might need to go to the dealer for a warranty issue or a programming issue, or just a problem that needs repair. And the trucks sit. The dealers have never been busier. They're just like everybody else. They can't get enough help. They're having supplier issues. My recommendation, and this is not a sales pitch, but most fleet towing companies try to have a backup truck for when a truck goes down, because it is cost. You know, the repair is one cost, but having the truck down and not being productive is even more costly. So I would recommend some sort of a backup truck. You know, there are rental trucks available out there, but that is costly as well. But my recommendation is a backup truck. Another thing too is if you do have similar type trucks in your fleet, say you have a Ford F-550, make a little bit of investment and stock those parts for your fleet, knowing that at some point in time you're going to be needing those. So consolidating like models is important.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Just a piece to add onto this one, Bob. This would probably, even Bob Hess could probably answer this, but if you have your vehicles at a dealer, usually the dealers are restrained to use OEM parts to put it back together for warranty issues and everything like that. Reach out to the aftermarket side, Napa, and see, you know, all the other different vendors out there. You may have to do the research yourself, but they may have a sensor where the dealer wouldn't consider that as an option to put on that.
Very good. And Bob, what are you seeing, Bob Hess from Napa, what are you seeing with respect to the pipeline? Is it starting to get back to return to normal, or is it going to take quite, you know, a considerable amount of time for that to happen? You're muted.
Of course I am. I wanted to be the first that did that, by the way.
There wouldn't be a webinar without that.
It wouldn't be. I didn't want to let anybody down, but no, we have not seen the last of this yet. We're still experiencing supply chain issues. In fact, in some areas it's getting worse rather than getting better. But for the most part, you know, it can be challenging. But I would say that in most cases, and you get in, you know, it depends on the type of product and type of part category. But I guess all I can really say with any kind of confidence is that it's still a challenge and it's not over yet. But don't give up and give us a try.
Very good, very good. And I know Scott Ross at Santander Bank. I know you guys have felt the impact initially at the beginning of the year. It seemed kind of a slow go, and now seems like sales are picking up. So I think that's a good sign overall for the industry, and that folks are getting back out there and doing their thing. And
yeah, we're seeing in the last couple of months, the application count, which is obviously one barometer, has gone up, which is good, obviously. And actually, the closed loans has gone up, which tells you obviously the deals that we approved 3-4 months ago, the trucks are finally starting to come in. But the app count and the pipeline is approved apps that haven't funded. Those two items have gone up. The credit quality, the approval ratio is still very high. So overall we're seeing the demand is there. I think we'll all agree with this. Demand is there. I mean, it's just the inventory, and I think, David, you mentioned getting drivers. That's a challenge as well. But once this all works itself out, now whether that's 3 months or 9 months, who knows? I think we're all going to see a significant increase in volume. But we saw, as you're right, Bob, the first 3 or 4 months were quite slow. But we're starting. I don't want to jinx us. The last 2 months have been pretty good, and July is knock on wood looking better. So good news.
Yeah, and just from AAA's perspective, the call volume has returned to basically the 2019 numbers, and so looks like people are out there, moving around, and so that's a good sign. But hey, I know the only thing that's between the weekend and and you guys is me right now. So we want to get this thing wrapped up, but I want to bring Chelsea back on, and we have another raffle. And first of all, wanted to say a couple of things before we do this last raffle, and then we'll wrap it up. But first, I want to thank all the attendees for attending a call, especially on a Friday afternoon. And we know everybody is super busy, but we appreciate that. And certainly thank you, panelists, for your help and your efforts. Means a lot to us. And also to my staff for putting this together. Emmy Terry kind of took the lead on this, and most of you probably have known Emmy for a couple of years now, and she's just done a phenomenal job. There she is, her bright, shiny face, and she's our marketing manager and just does excellent work and really responsible for developing our Network of Savings website and a lot of cool things are going on in the AAA world. And then her counterpart, Chelsea Fowler, who's been a really integral part of putting this all together. So thank you guys for all that work. And so the last thing, Chelsea, you got something really good, right?
Oh, I do.
Am I going to get to pick the number on this one? Or?
You know what, Bob? I think I might just let you do that. So
right.
Just to tell everyone what we have a $500 gift card that we'll be raffling off, courtesy of our Network of Savings. So go ahead, Bob, number 1 through 200, if you would, please.
I'm going to go with 77.
77. All right.
No, Scott Ross, that's not my age. So I know you're sitting there thinking it, but
all right. We have Tim Cassidy, and I saw him putting some questions in, so let me just make sure he's still here. Yep, it looks like he's still here. So congratulations, Tim. We'll reach out to you after this and make sure we get your information for that.
All right. Congratulations, Tim. Excellent. And thanks again, everyone, for joining. And hopefully we'll be able to do this again real soon. Have a fantastic weekend.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care.
Everybody.
Thank you all. Have a good weekend.